All right. Okay, so we already have attendees and they're increasing by the number, increasing very rapidly. Welcome everyone. Welcome Dhruv, welcome Mihir. Welcome Amisha. So while we're waiting for a lot of the attendees, a lot more of the attendees, just let me know where you guys are joining us from. I see there are a lot of us here. And in the previous sessions, we've had people from all over the country. So where are you joining us from?
And we can use the chat for that.
Yeah, and you can use the chat for that. First of all, can anyone just use the chat and let me know if you can write anything on the chat? Okay. Kriti is joining us from Bhopal. And can anyone here, any one of the attendees just write something on the chat so I get to know if you're joining us? Okay, so you're writing on the questions and answers. Ujjain, that's great. A lot of people from Madhya Pradesh. All right, so we'll wait for more attendees before we start the session. Yes, Wilson, you have your hand raised. Do you want to ask a question? I guess not. All right. So are you guys well versed with this platform with Zoom? Just type Y in the chat if you are. Because I'm sure a lot of you are. Oh, Dhruv is from Devas. Oh, there are people from Trichy also. That's great. So we have people who are scaling all the country. People from Madhya Pradesh to the chat is disabled. All right. Thank you for that. So you can maybe write your answers in questions and answers. So we'll see to why the chat is disabled or not. But keep writing your responses in the questions and answers, everyone. I'm already getting a lot of responses there. Okay, so before we start the session, let me introduce the host, the main person, the person who will be leading the session. And one thing which I would love to say about him is that when you search on Google, Ajay Batra, Google actually tells you who he is. Like you don't need to actually go on another link. There will be an icon in the side which will be telling that Ajay Batra is an author and also
Vinayak, just wait now. We'll start at 7. We'll wait for more people to join. Just sorry for the interruption. We'll start at 7.
Oh, yes. I'll wait for more people to join. I'm just chatting with them right now. This is not.
Kushor, could you please see if we can enable the chat section, please?
All right. So we have people in the back end working to enable the chat. Till the time, wow, we have 35, 36 attendees.
And counting.
And counting.
Yeah.
It's 37 as we speak. That is great. So let me know about it. Are any of you already entrepreneurs or most of you students invited in the Q&A session? The Q&A part, sorry. Q&A icon, which you can see. Okay. The students, mostly students. Student first year. That's great. And are all of you studying engineering? What stream are you studying? Is it computer science? Is it? I'm sure a lot of engineers are here. Yes, yes. It's full of engineers, electrical engineers, computer science. Wow, there's P-Com honors. Our guest today is also an engineer, and our the main person who's talking today, our coordinator of the session, is also an engineer. Electronics and communication, BTech in data science. Wow, data science is something which is really taking off. We already have more than 50 participants. That's great. There are a lot of people who have already joined, and I'm unable to post in chat. Oh, yes, we are working on that. And oh, you're a professor in mechanical engineering. Wow, there are people who are professors also joining us, people who are MBA who are joining us. That's great. BTech in food processing. Wow, interesting field. And as we speak, it's 7 already. So I would start introducing our host of the session. And here we have Ajay sir, Mr. Ajay Batra. And like I was talking about him previously, he did his engineering in the 80s from NSIT, and he did it in computer science. So imagine doing a computer science in that era. And after that, he went abroad and he did his master's in the United States. But he has seen everything, right from Fortran to Python, right from the earliest computers to Chat GPT. So he's somebody who has been there and was also done it. He has been he has been the founder of multiple ventures. Was also the co-founder and CEO of the Entrepreneurship Innovation Center, the CIE of Bennett University. And not just that, he has also written an amazing book, the link of which we'll share soon. And I'm sure he'll tell you a lot more about it. But before that, like I said, if you search his name on Google, Google will tell you who he is. So let's give it up for a host of the night. Let's give it up for Mr. Ajay Batra.
Thank you, Vinayak, for those kind words. And a very good evening, everyone. Delighted to have you on board. And of course, thank you for sharing your precious Wednesday evening with us. What we are embarking on is really an exciting journey into something that's been kind of a buzzing around us for the longest time. I'm delighted to be here along with my team. Of course, we will walk you through this journey, share a lot of insights, and most importantly, have you get connected in a way that makes sense to you. Why? Because this buzz that I'm talking about, right? Hardly a day goes by when you open newspaper and you know don't. It's actually surprising if you don't read any news about startups, funding, growth, and to be honest, off late maybe some issues with startup, but that's fine. That's life, right? Interestingly, when India took over the stewardship of G20 recently, one of the first things that was done was to create a group on startups that will help promote startup coordination and work amongst the G20 countries. As Vinayak mentioned ChatGPT, right? It's out there. Everybody's talking about it. But it's not just ChatGPT. ChatGPT is actually spawning the next generation of technology, next generation of entrepreneurs. It's happening as we speak. Shark Tank has entered our living rooms. For India, that's a big deal. So, folks, there's a lot happening in the world of entrepreneurship and startups. And as I said, we are here to bring that to you. But honestly, this journey is as much about you as it's about the world outside of you. So we are hoping this will help you understand who you are a little better, what you'd like to do, and how what we're talking about probably resonates with some of you, if not all of you. So we're going to try to make this journey as personalized as possible through these sessions and a whole host of other offerings that we're building so that you get as much out of it as the energy that we are hopefully bringing to you. So folks, once again, fasten your seatbelt. We just taking off right now. Fast and serious for now. The fact that we have so many participants who are continuing to join us, once again, thank you, from different parts of the country. As I'm seeing your introductions scroll up here. So shout out to all attendees. Thank you again. special thanks to eCells across multiple institutes who have helped us promote this program. And not just for this session, but upcoming sessions as well. So thank you. This series is brought to you by Wadhwani Foundation. I'm sure many of you have heard the name, National Entrepreneurship Network, sometimes NEN. It's all part of the Wadhwani Foundation mission. And the mission is very single-minded and focused. It is to say that world around us becomes better socially, economically, if we focus on creating job creators. Of course, we must educate and skill our people, our youth to be good in the jobs and professions as job seekers. But primarily, the big change happens when we shift our focus to job creators. And honestly, that's what Wadhwani Foundation been doing for over 20 years. We are present in 4 continents. We touch almost the lives of almost 20,000 young entrepreneurs and students every year. And we're really, really proud, this team here is really proud to be associated with the foundation, which, by the way, is the vision and brainchild of Dr. Ramesh Wadhwani, who is a Padma Shri recipient, tech entrepreneur, billionaire based out of the US. But he is, as I said, he's the guiding light behind pushing us to think differently and think entrepreneurially in all that we do. And that's what we bring to you folks as part of our program, which is part of the larger program at Wadhwani Foundation, the Wadhwani Entrepreneur Program. And we have multiple offerings from those who just want to understand what is entrepreneurship all about? How do I really get started? I want to get that inspiration to get my first idea, to somebody who says, listen, I've got a startup. I launched it 6 months ago. I've got some revenues. I want to take it to the next level. I want to take it globally. Can you help me raise funds? So there's a broad spectrum of support that this program provides to entrepreneurs of all shapes and sizes. And the last but not the least in this is the series that we are kicking off today with you, which is the Wadhwani Entrepreneur Think Startup Program. And honestly, it says think, but it is more than think. It is actually think and do. It's the journey that you would take if you were on this to figure out a startup idea and take it to fruition thereafter. So really the steps that you would typically see, typical milestones. And the beauty of these milestones, of course, is that not only do we share what those milestones are, but hopefully help you avoid some of the pitfalls associated with this journey. So folks, like I said, fast and serious, 9 sessions is all we request of you. Give us your time and attention. From how do I even get an idea of a startup to what is this startup stuff all about, to actually building something that's real, to taking it to the market and hopefully scaling. We're going to see it all come alive over 9 sessions. And, you know, the point we do want to make really strongly is if you got entrepreneurship, even as a micro spark in you today, I think there's tons of value coming up. However, some of you might be wondering, I don't know if I want to be an entrepreneur. Our value proposition, our hypothesis to you is you will also find some value, some benefits. So if you're looking to finish college, take up a job in an MNC, join a consulting company, perhaps go back to your family business, or even join the social sector in an NGO. The skills of today that are relevant in all industries is what we're going to be covering, folks. So really, 21st century commands or demands certain attitude, skills, capabilities, which in general are called entrepreneurial. We're going to cover it all. So whether you really want to do a startup, this rocket launching in the end, or you just want to prepare yourself for a great job, I think there's masala here. And like I said, 9 sessions. The first 2 weeks, this week, today, tomorrow, next week, same Wednesday, Thursday, are rather compressed. Like I said, fast, but we'll hopefully get you to think and act accordingly. But by and large, the series will stagger out just a little bit after that. And at the end of March, it all comes together as a series, and hopefully with some lot more clarity on startups and launching and scaling. So I know most of the sessions are in the evening. You've done with your classes, you got homework in your head, you got assignments, you got some me time, you got some Game Boy time, maybe some hangout. I get it. And I really respect the fact that you're giving us your time today and in the remaining parts of the series. But honestly, I think beyond the time that you give in these sessions, we want to make sure you get 10x the returns back. And that will happen if you stay connected with us. Come join the sessions, share your thoughts, experiences, ask questions. We're going to introduce a very powerful platform to you. Get connected with your peers. We've invited some wonderful speakers, founders to these sessions. Listen to their stories. So get inspired, get started. So please, all in all, whatever we are putting in, if you put just a little bit from your end, I think it'll be a great journey for all of us concerned. So today, we'll do this big picture view. Where are we? What's happening around the world, in India? What is this thing called entrepreneur? Who is an entrepreneur? And is there such a thing as there is no, that everybody is an entrepreneur, but there's nobody out there who's not an entrepreneur? We'll figure it out. And of course, colleges, all the excitement, and we got a guest founder coming in as well. Okay, a unicorn, right? That's what you see here. What does it mean? What is a unicorn? Does anybody know? Just chat, Q&A, just type away. What's a unicorn? Anyone? What is a unicorn? Let's see. 1 billion com, okay. Okay, great. Some more. 1 billion. Okay. Great. Okay. Kriti's, thank you. Krishna, thank you. Anurag, there you go. I think you guys are right there. Almost there. Almost there. So really, interestingly, a unicorn is a mythical being. In reality, it doesn't exist. And this term was coined when reaching a valuation of $1 billion, as many of you rightly said, 800 crores, $1 billion. By the way, it's valuation, not revenues. Seemed like a far-fetched dream. That's not the case today. A unicorn is still fairly mythical and make-believe, but real unicorns and startups and ventures is happening every single day. And we'll look at some numbers. So folks, exciting times. Like I said earlier, it's in the air. There's energy out there. You can contribute to the energy. You can derive energy from all of this. And all of this is really because there's a lot of change that's happened, particularly in India in the last, I would say 7 to 8 years. By the way, when I first did my first venture, I did have somebody guiding me along. We didn't use the term mentor then. There was actually a friend of a family who invested in our business in the early days. We just called them a friend of the family. We didn't use terms like angel investor or seed money, but all that is changing. And if you've been tracking all the developments, the physics wala, the uniforms, the live spaces of the world, they are brand new unicorns. We're minting quite often, and maybe the number today is more like 108 today. And India over the last 7-8 years has gone way to the top. Depending on which survey you look at, to be honest, it's either 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but right there. We are recognized as one of the startup capitals of the world. Bangalore is often called the Silicon Valley of Asia, really. So there's a lot happening in the ecosystem. And as I was mentioning earlier, for young founders and students and those who are exploring entrepreneurship, the support system is amazing. I'm quite sure many of you who are attending from your colleges have not just vibrant e-cells, but you also have incubators where you get hand-holding, mentoring, guidance, and perhaps funding support to move things along. That supportive environment is amazing. And no matter what you've heard in terms of so-called funding winter out there over the last 6 months, let me assure you, I'm not just a mentor, I'm also an investor in startups. Good investments in startups continue to happen. And I deliberately use the word good, which means as an investor, as investors, we have become pickier for sure. We are bargaining more, but the money is still available. For good idea, good ventures, good teams, and good execution, there is no dearth of money out there. In fact, government has launched a very remarkable scheme called the Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, which actually gives money to people who just have early stage ideas. And perhaps, in my opinion, one of the biggest shifts that happened in the last 5 to 7, 8 years is that entrepreneurship has become viable as a conversation in families, at dining tables, students, youth are able to bring up the topic and say, hey, this looks inspiring watching a Shark Tank issue. I think I can do it. And instead of being shushed away, the family saying, maybe give it a shot. We used to see almost 98% of students go for placements in college. Now we're saying the number is actually starting to drop, 90, 80, depending on where you are. So what's happening with the rest? The rest are out there trying to venture on their own. They're saying, hey, thank you for the education, great support. I want to launch something of my own and see where it goes. So, and in most cases, family is okay with it. So family support, social support, really building up out there. Okay, folks, time to exercise your fingers again. Fastest fingers, no prizes, but we can do fastest fingers if you want. How can we have a session with so many fantastic students? There you go. I love it. I love it. Bala, you have preempted my question as Rushil. So we should have a quiz, and there you are. You know what the quiz is about. So, but guys, way too easy. Thank you, Zomato, Depender. Perfect, bang on. Sorry, way too easy. Let's do another one. So I'm going to tell you a quick story, and then you have to guess who I'm talking about. This is the story of an Indian who went to Stanford to study. Unfortunately, had to leave his studies midstream and come back because his father had passed away. So he came back to India. Zomato is over. Depender is over, Praveen. Next story. But thank you for guessing absolutely correctly here. So he comes back to India, takes over very traditional business of Vanaspati ghee and oils, hint, and transforms the company into this big IT giant that it is today. Who is this person? Ruth. We are talking about possibly. Okay, some more guesses? Yeah. I'm seeing. There you go. Tata's not so much. Azim Premji, for sure. That's who this gentleman is. Again, a Padma Shri, by the way. And while Wipro is known for all the wonderful things that it does, in the recent years, Mr. Premji has become the largest philanthropic contributor in education in India. The Azim Premji Foundation, and I had the good fortune of working with them for 4-5 years, is an amazing organization that he funds that is out there trying to improve the quality of education in the country every single day. But thank you. Good going, guys. Most of you've gotten it. Gaurav, Sham, Shubham, thank you. Let's try another one. Who's this? Azim Premji ke baad kaun hai? Anyone? Okay, I'll Ashita, Bitcoin, not really. Sudhanshu, you may be there, but I'm going to wait for other FTX. Oh God. Okay, Krishna, you really getting creative on us. Okay, Rushil, you're getting there. Hint to the others. It's a green app that we all use 100 times a day. Yeah. Krishna, absolutely. WhatsApp, Bala, you're bang on. It is Jan Koum, the founder of WhatsApp. Very interesting story and very contextual as well. His family moved from, of all the places, Ukraine to US and went through really bad times economically and really had a harsh early years. Interestingly, before he founded WhatsApp, he actually applied to Facebook. And guess what? Facebook rejected him. And a few years later, he founds WhatsApp, and then Facebook buys it from him for how much? You want to guess? How much did Facebook pay for WhatsApp way back? In billions. Any guesses? Okay, 1 billion, 19 billion. Yeah. That's the number. Yeah. It's 16 to 20, depending on what kind of reporting you look at. So look, think about it. Even at $16 billion, that they were a small team, perhaps no more than 24. $16 billion for an app from a guy who was rejected by this very company. Very interesting story, very inspirational. Okay, here's another one. Thank you, Sudhanshu. Savage, your number is there, 2.5 billion. Little low, but you're at least in the billions. That's good. Who's this gentleman now on the left of the screen, top left? Hind, Nobel laureate. Hind, Bangladesh. Okay. A Bangladeshi Nobel laureate. Amartya Sen, Ash, no, little off. Yes, 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 you're right there. You're almost getting there slowly. Yep, you guys are on the right track now. Himanshu, Harshita, you're right. Dr. Muhammad Yunus, absolutely. Atishay, you got it right there. Bang on. Thank you. Dr. Muhammad Yunus, again, an amazing story of somebody who was a PhD and was really bothered by the fact that small town business people, crafts people, entrepreneurs, they're absolutely Dr. Muhammad, was struggling to get loans from banks, loans as small as $50. And he said, this is not right. There is a segment out there, if given a little bit of support, can do wonders for society. And hence, really, microfinance, as you know, today was born, thanks to Grameen Bank, thanks to Dr. Muhammad Yunus. Okay, let's see another one. Yeah, you got to have somebody who smiled at you and tell you that she is a great founder focusing on an area that's of great importance to India and the world. Hint. She's doing, who's this person? She's doing great work around support to women. Savage, not in America, in India. Who's the founder, or what has she founded? What company has she created that is helping women? That's a big hint, guys. All right, women on the call, you got to get this. Sudha Murthy is a good answer, but not relevant here, Krishna, sorry. Okay. Okay, I'll give you a hint. Her startup's name is, thank you, Shadanshu. Shiro, absolutely. And her name is Sairi Chahal. Amazing founder. If you get a chance, listen to some of her talks on YouTube. Very inspiring. So, folks, here we are. Thank you so much. Absolutely, Amol, you're getting it now. We've looked at only 4 people, maybe 5 if you count Dipender, right? Coming from different fields of life. Some are focusing more on social impact, the others focusing on commercial, one on tech, one on helping communities, different age groups, different realities of life. Somebody's coming from very, let's say, rich background, somebody isn't. Do you see anything common between them? Is there a common thread that binds them together? Okay, they all come from small town, not all, but that's a good comment, Harshita. They've all taken the first step. Interesting, Krishna. Some more. What else is common between these folks? They have creative minds, good ones. They're all entrepreneurs. Tessa, thank you. They all demonstrate entrepreneurial minds, the truth says. Great. Great. Seeing challenges and finding a solution. Thank you, Bala. And Vatsalya also saying they're taking risk and ambitious. Perfect. Great. Now I'm loving what's coming in now. No fear of rejection. Exploring things. Some were rejected, some weren't, but you're right, Sriram, at some points. All right, folks, perseverance. There you go. I'm loving what you're typing in here. So you're absolutely right. Absolutely. So what I have is actually less than what all that you're saying. In their own way, it doesn't matter what they do in life. There are 2 things that are fundamental to these people. A, they're connecting to something deep inside of them, something that resonates with them, that makes sense to them. It may bother them because of certain issues that they see around. Exactly, Kriti. They have to connect with something personally and then have this desire to create some impact in the world. And impact is social, economic, or a combination thereof. Absolutely, solve a problem. So, folks, these are the people we call entrepreneurial. So remember what I said earlier, entrepreneurs are not just those who launch ventures, commercial ventures, tech ventures. Entrepreneurs are people who take the first step, as some of you very rightly said, who don't give up and say, listen, I'm going to move the needle just a little bit. I'm going to improve banking. I'm going to reduce pollution. I'm going to reduce bad health services in our hospitals. I'm going to make sure people get more jobs. I'm going to make sure transportation systems around the country improve. I'm going to make sure women get the right representation, whatever is your calling. The way you solve these problems innovatively is what is called entrepreneurship. And folks, that is the fundamental definition we're going to work with. So today, and in the remaining eight series, you will see us say startup words, but please interpret it to mean a lot, to be broader than what we are saying, what we usually connect entrepreneurship with. But thank you, great responses. I'm loving it. Different mindsets, proof that modern problems require modern solutions. Absolutely right, Priyanshi, and sometimes modern problems also require traditional solutions. I'm seeing, just as an aside, I'm seeing a big chunk of startups coming over to us for seeking funding and mentoring from the agri-space regions. And the problems are of today, insecticide, pesticide, lack of organic food, all of that. But some of the solutions I'm seeing are remarkably traditional. Of course, they've scaled it up. They have perhaps added some bit of technology on top of it, but the core solution often is actually fairly traditional and is out there, needs to be tapped. Okay, no risk or reward, we'll see. But folks, the journey that we're in today, and this audience proves it, over 120 people today, we are interested in exploring this as students. We are interested in saying, listen, if this is so good, can I give it a shot? And we think you can. We think it makes sense. But what do you think? Do you think while being a student, taking a look at entrepreneurship makes sense to you? If yes, why? So may I request, thank you, Vinayak. You put in the Menti code. There is a QR code on your screens. Either go to Menti and enter the code or just scan the QR. Please go ahead and enter your thoughts. And my colleague Aarti is keeping track of your responses. I'd love to hear why you think this is true. Why do you think college is, let me not give you ideas, a good place, broadly speaking, to try out entrepreneurship? Okay, lots of responses already. Thank you. Hey, Aarti. Very interesting.
Lots of responses coming in, Ajay, and our surprise speaker is also here and giving you a time check of 7:25.
Perfect. Thank you, Aarti. All right. Youth are full of energy. Absolutely right. Look at the fantastic responses we're getting in. No fear of, oops. Okay, guys. Wow, this is really changing. Young and dynamic, peer group, right guidance. I'm picking as it changes, but all good ones. I'm loving these. Fresh ideas is good. Backup, youth mind, right? Thank you, Anshika. I know you're typing in the chat, but that's good. Professional network is very interesting. By the way, the network that Wadhwani Foundation has created and has been propagating for years and years is one such example of a global network. Oh, very nice. I love these answers. Incubators out there, alumni, places to find co-founders, good ones, innovative mind. Fantastic. I'm loving this. Thank you, folks. No, it shows you are brimming with energy and ideas. Just the very fact that our screen is full and I probably won't have space for any more words shows the youthful energy that is out here. Okay, thank you. Thank you. This is amazing. I'm going to, oops. Thank you, Aarti. Folks, if you're still interested, you can keep entering your ideas in the chat. And you know, you were absolutely right. A lot of you said easy opportunity to try new things, safe, not really worrying about failure. Absolutely. In fact, for entrepreneurship in general, it is an iterative learning process. Learn, do, apply. We actually don't often use the term failure. Each is an opportunity to figure out how to do it better next time around. These are all iterations. So whether you're talking to the founders of Practo or Facebook, Google, WordPress, FedEx, Microsoft, they are all campus startups. And there's enough force building around that in campuses around the world. It's definitely a lot happening in India. And I think all of you talked about these and more. Let me just explain the first one. I think some of you kind of hinted it. I think as students, we are curious and we are taught to ask questions. We are taught to ask, why is something the way it is? And more importantly, we are taught, why can't it be different? Why not? Why can't we try X and fix the pollution in, let's say, Delhi NCR? That spirit of probing, asking, looking around you, scanning the horizon, and really feeling the pain of certain issues around us is great as a student. And as you do all of that and all the answers you gave, the positivity that you bring to the table, and hopefully in doing so, you'll have make new friends and have tons of fun. So thank you so much. I'm with you on this. This is the energy we're talking about, the energy that you're exhibiting right here on the session today. And with that, it is my sheer delight to welcome our special guest, Dr. Geeta Manjunath. She is the founder of Niramai and doing some amazing things. She's a scientist, she's an innovator, and of course, she's an entrepreneur. And as I mentioned earlier, in her own way, changing the world. And I want to thank Geeta for being here today, for accepting our invite and talking to the young minds who are present today. So, Geeta, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajesh.
Great. Thank you. So, Geeta, as we get started with our chat, I know some of the reasons for you for doing what you're doing are personal, but I would love for you to tell our participants a little bit about Niramai and how you got about starting it.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be speaking with all of you. As Ajay was saying, it's a wonderful prelude. Young minds, very energetic, and so on. Okay, starting with my story. Right out of campus, I never thought I will be an entrepreneur for sure. I thought I would be techie, solving really good problems. This was way back, maybe many of you were not even born at that time when I did my master's from Indian Institute of Science. I did very well and I got into research in computer science, as that was my passion to innovate and try and do something new kind of every day. So all was good. I was in Hewlett-Packard Labs after that, joined as a principal scientist, and I actually was at HP Labs for 17 years, working with international researchers as well in Palo Alto, California, and other places. And then I went on to, of course, in parallel, I did my PhD as well from Indian Institute of Science again, after working for 17 years. So I became a student. My student mindset set in, I think. I had to unlearn a lot of things that you feel you know after working. But yeah, you need to sort of, I was sitting with students like you and going back to college. Then I went on to head the AI research in Xerox, as a lab director, trying to mentor researchers, scientists to actually do something. Unlike most researchers, where they're very happy publishing in top journals, which I've also done. I get more satisfaction. In all the problems I did, I used to get more and more satisfaction when some new idea that you come up with actually makes a difference on the ground. This is the case even during my corporate career. But when I was at Xerox, heading the AI research and working on several problems, something very different happened in my family. That is, I had a cousin sister who was just 1 year elder to me. We were very close, good friends, and so on. Suddenly, I came to know that she had stage 4 breast cancer. It was extremely shocking to me. And within 6 months, though she did a surgery, it recurred, and she just passed away. So it was a huge shock because we were more friends, very best friends than even like cousin sisters as such. And we were spending our summers together, summer holidays, and so on. So this got me thinking, and like we were trying to solve, global problems and interesting problems, publishing, trying to figure out how people can buy things better using artificial intelligence, or how can we make this Ola kind of thing, right? Ola, Uber type of thing. How can we reach faster to a place and so on? And then I said, okay, here is a problem which can just take away a life so quickly. What are we doing about it? So I started a small project, me and one more of my team members. So we started experimenting with why is this breast cancer getting detected late, and trying to explore, are there other methods of doing it and so on. So 6 to 8 months I spent, and then I said, okay, it's not going to work with 25 other things to do. So I quit my job and started Niramai 6 years ago now on the ground. And I'm very happy to share that, like Ajay was saying, focusing on a problem and wanting to solve the problem and getting the help of the ecosystem also. We now have a breakthrough innovation in breast cancer detection made in India, unique in the world, and trying to address the key issue of young breast cancer, which I lost not only this cousin, actually during the course of time, I saw many other people affected as well. So this is my story. So I call myself an accidental entrepreneur. I just want to solve the problem. So
Right. Geeta, thank you. Thank you for sharing that personal note with us. And I was listening to you talk about, you come from a scientific background, right? So the sense of scientific inquiry is deeply embedded in you, right? And then you experience these personal tragedies. What process did you take before, once you kind of felt there was something that needed to be done from that initial, as you said, why can't we do something better, to actually launching Niramai? What was the mental journey that you went through?
right. As you said, so this trying to do new things and take on bigger challenges was something that I was throughout my career enjoying it. So when this problem was posed, I decided to sort of pick up this. Honestly, I didn't know anything about breast cancer because though I have a like Dr. Giri in front, that's the PhD, computer science PhD. It's nothing to do with health. So first and foremost, I did think like, I want to do something. So first is to figure out what's out there, right? So what in general problematic sense, you say literature survey, literature like what exists earlier, not necessarily history and all. So a lot of Googling and searching about what's happening out there, and what is the current solution used, and what are the other methods that people have used before, why did they succeed, and so on. So basically reading up a lot on the web about this problem and about different ways of detecting cancer. That was the first step, right? And then trying to figure out what the, more like a table, like what are the different methods and what are the plus and minus, generally you have this like different features and what something is good at and what something is not good at. So if you try to put that in, you kind of get a lay of the land, we say, right? Typically how the scene is today. And while usually when you actually, if you want to be an entrepreneur in the audience, typically you will also talk about, is there a business value? But I'm set, I just wanted to, I didn't really worry about the business value part of it. It's really the impact aspect of it. But typically you would do that as well as like market potential and so on. So when this happened, so the first question was, so can I just build that small Mickey Mouse experiment, right? Which says that there is light at the end of the tunnel, or it's worth going here. So typically you will have to formulate a proof of concept, POC, right? In the direction of the solution you're thinking about. So I, fortunately for me, we were already working with the hospital. I talked to the doctor and said, can we take a thermal image of a cancer patient who was going to get operated tomorrow, right? So basically, he allowed us to do it. So because it was non-invasive and all. So I actually took the picture, like, you know, a thermal image of the patient, and you could make out the, you know, some clear mark out there. And then I said, okay, there is some proof point that there is, you know, something that can be done in that direction. Next, we have to see whether, like, really we can write a computer science algorithm to actually do this. So I had to really two samples is fine, but if you want more samples to test out, it's not going to happen in a friendly way or just like a friendly gesture. So went through formal process of going through permissions and setting up clinical study protocols and so on to actually collect about 78 cancer patients. You know, so all of these, you know, in general terms means wanted to get more and more confidence that the approach I'm using is the right one to do. And always I was seeing that, you know, if you want to detect, honestly, I didn't know we're going to do a breast cancer screening because we were only initially, you know, looking at patients who are already known to be breast cancer and trying to image it. Only when I said, you know, what is the use of identifying and detecting a tool to detect cancer in already known patients, right? Obviously, we need to do it at a screening level, and that's where early detection is very, very important, and the screening is most important. So then I spoke to a doctor, trying to sort of, you know, literally figure out how can I do that experiment on non-cancer patients? Is there additional data available? Are there different sources? There's so much of exploratory. I know I was like, I was just thinking around and said, okay, it's like you're getting into a forest. There is no carved path. Nobody has ever done thermal imaging based AI product, right, for breast cancer screening. So with that, you know, there's no carved path. So what you need to do is to try and sort of, you know, cut some bushes, you know, which are immediately visible to you. The challenges are immediately visible to you. You cut those and go a little bit front. And then, you know, you start making that path, you know, wherever there is less thorny stuff, you know.
Correct.
It's very, very similar. You just start doing, moving.
And Geeta, if I may just build on that analogy, you talked about the challenges, right? First, of your own internal challenge of figuring out what is that you want to do and how to do it and make sure the world understands it. And then you talk about taking the path less traveled, right? Yeah. How difficult is that to venture on something that you know is right, and yet there are enough ups and downs, right? Were there moments where you asked yourself, am I really doing the right thing? Am I really in the right track? Did you ever have that moment?
Yes, so definitely I had this. And so, but the thing was, I was doing a lot of these until I got the confidence that this direction is probably the right thing. I did not announce, you know, I was just thinking myself, right? And then trying to sort of keep the, like, it's not like a secret or anything. It's just, you don't know really, like, you know, what you're trying to do. Honestly, I never had even a dream that I will do a startup, right? But my idea was like, let me spend my extra time in trying to find out the solution. It was really like social service, and I'll do my job and then do this in the midnight type of thing, right? So that's what I was doing. But every time I saw some success, you know, it's really like a light bulb thing. Oh my God, this is actually that's what gives you, like, you know, next level, you know, or energy to do the next level thing, right? And suddenly you feel, okay, the stars are getting aligned, and maybe there's something out here. So that is how it was. But definitely there will be doubts, and so it's really about you know, my thought process was, okay, I'll try this. If it doesn't work, I'll try another approach, right?
Okay.
So there is some kind of a backtrack mode that I was ready with. And again, I had to take a very big call of quitting my job, you know, to do that. Was, I guess, not a commonly made decision, right? You know, obviously, it's a lot of financial and multiple, I have family and all of that. So, but at that time, one thought came to my mind, and I guess I just want to share it with the kids as well, is that when, like I said, okay, here I'm at a juncture where I have two options, one, of course, stay back, and as things would be, right, staying back meant actually I was going to get a promotion to be the head of the full research. That was what was an offer. My
this is HP Labs, right?
this is Xerox Research.
Xerox.
Yeah.
Okay.
So stay back and become the head of the, so like, get the promotion and make more money, or jump off and I don't know what to do, but try a bit about the new method I was thinking about to solve the problem that I wanted to solve. So of course, while the decision track was clear, but one thought that was like, in future, if I look back at my life and say, do I want to regret any decisions, or will I regret? And I thought, if I make the decision of staying back and lose an opportunity to make an impact, I would regret that decision. So that was sufficient for me to say that this
keep going.
Something that I need to do, and I jumped off there.
Interesting. Geeta, you were very modest about earlier how you mentioned that you didn't quite think about the business side of things that clearly, and perhaps initially. But I want to tell everybody, you've now successfully raised over $7 million, right? So I sense business is also doing well. So give us a sense of how has the response from market been? Who do you sell to? How has the healthcare industry in general taken to your solution, please?
Yes. So while we look at it like market and things like that, right, that's absolutely important. When you look at the impact itself, right, if you just measure like how many women are out there, like the 2 billion women about 28, 25 years, and all of them need to, take a scan every year, which even if you just charge $10, it's 2 billion into $10 per year, which is pretty good, right? Total addressable market, as we say.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the, definitely, we had to first raise funds and so on. So we have to look at what is the market potential we are going after. And before that, we need to be clear, what is that product? Okay, I want to solve breast cancer, reduce breast cancer deaths and so on. But exactly what are we going to do? So getting clarity on the problem is first important. And how this solution you're thinking of addresses this problem. And by addressing this problem, what is the market you're going to unlock, right? And enable. So all of these have to be thought through before you go and try to raise funds, right? Why raise funds? Because initial cameras we're working on, individually, each one of them were costing 25 lakhs. And I said, I need to raise funds because that's too much of personal money. I didn't have that kind of cash. So basically we went in within 1 month. I'm happy to share that we were able to raise $1 million. That is at that point in time, So, so that to get to that, we had to have clarity on the problem, understanding of what is the current state of art, or who are the competitors. I mean, it's not that you have to be unique in the world to do a startup or trying to solve a problem. There could be other solutions. You could do similar to other solutions also. In our case, it is unique, but doesn't always have to be. But there should be some unique selling point, USP, right? That is what you have to identify. Why you think you'll be better than the competition, better than who is out there, and why you think as a person you are suitable to do that, right? It's important because these are the questions that the investors generally ask, and it's also useful to think about it, because that is the direction of success. Your strength is, go in that direction. That's the best way, right? And you can always partner for other purposes, because you can't depend on somebody else's strength all the time, right? So that's how it was. Of course, I had led a lot of AI projects, and we decided to sort of actually use AI as a differentiator, artificial intelligence, machine learning as differentiators. So that is the direction sort of we framing.
Correct. And speaking of direction, Geeta, what's the future for Niramai? What are we looking at? I know this particular solution, this particular problem itself is big, but what else?
Right. So basically, first and foremost, it's back to the vision, right? I really want early detection of breast cancer all over, to the extent that stage 1 detection has 90% survival rate, whereas stage 4 detection can be 10% survival rate. So the direction we're going is where everyone on earth will take the test, will take our test. It's that's sort of the goal too. So towards that, first and foremost, how do we scale in India? We've now in 150 plus hospitals and diagnostic centers. Close to 100,000 women have screened with our test, which is pretty good for a new cancer screening solution. And going and working with hospital, obviously creating the proof points, clinical, testing and regulatory clearances and so on. And also we've started now expanding in Southeast Asia with MENA region, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah already in Kenya. We'll be launching in Philippines next week, Nepal, and some of these sort of Southeast Asian countries. And we have now gotten regulatory clearance for Europe, and one of the devices is cleared in US as well. So, our expansion of usage of this in all countries, and in every country, we are solving a different problem. For us, of course, here in India, it's just breast cancer screening. But if you go to the next level of problem, today, the affordability, accessibility of communications is what we're solving for the developing country. Whereas in MENA region, money is not an issue, but the experience of somebody else coming and touching the person and all of that is something that they hate. And our test is completely non-contact, non-invasive. Nobody touches the person. So that aspect is actually most useful for Middle East. Whereas for US and Europe, where affordability or accessibility is not an issue, mammograms are like everywhere. The issue is that mammograms are not able to detect cancer in women under 45 or 50 years of age. And that is the problem. So basically, there is a sub or a more specialized problem we identify for every country and see if any slight modification is required. So in that, we've already now developed a suite of products around the technology that we developed, that we have come up with called Thermalytics, a suite of products around it for breast screening. While that itself is a big enough problem that we can address in the next 2 to 3 years, we are also figuring out that this tech can not just solve breast cancer screening, but it can actually identify many other abnormal patterns in the body, other type of cancers and other type of pain related issues, skeletal-muscular issues, vascular issues and all. So this is like learning after we discuss with our hospital doctors, and then we're also seeing some of these cases being detected very well.
Okay.
So yeah, hopefully we are on the verge of creating a whole new method of detecting.
There you go. No, this is remarkable from your personal passion to the scale and scope of the challenges that you are trying to address. Amazing. And, in all your insights and sharing, Geeta, there are nuggets that I hope everybody is picking up. But I have to ask you explicitly. You've been already sharing, what can young entrepreneurs do or perhaps not do, right? What would your advice be to new women entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I would just say one thing. Do not fear, And typically girls and women first see obstacles than positive. Like first see the why it's not possible, the risks than opportunities, right? So yes, risks will be there. The first thing that I will do is whenever there's a risk, I'll figure out what is the easiest way of solving, dumbest way of solving the risk, then you feel the comfort. So do not fear, don't be afraid. That's one main thing. Don't be afraid. What if we fail? Nobody's going to question. I didn't promise anybody that I'd create this or whatever, right? So we just started. We're doing it for our heart or whatever, right? So I think first and foremost is not to be afraid of failure, not to be afraid. Every decision may not be right. So what? Nobody else has done it, right? You're at least trying to do it. So that aspect of not being very harsh on yourself and then going forward is most important piece, I feel. And it's applicable for both genders, but more so for female, where we doubt a lot in our capability. And second thing is, we may not know everything, it's not possible. Startup and running a business has multiple facets and aspects of it. Nobody can know everything, right? But what we need to figure out is that we will we know what we know first and we know what we don't know. That we have to figure out. And when we know what we don't know, go to experts and mentors in this. It may not be, again, one person for everything. You will actually find mentors for each of these aspects separately. So be open to collaborate. Nobody's going to run away with your idea. No, it's about what you are doing and how much you can go forward. So these two things, I think there will always be ups and downs, it's actually almost a spiritual journey. You just have to be like,
It is, yeah. Geeta, thank you so much. There's so much more we'd love to chat, and there's so many people out here who may have questions, but perhaps our time may not permit. But I do want to thank you. Amazing insights. It's a short chat, but you brought the pearls, if you will, in this. And from on behalf of Wadhwani Foundation, hundreds of students who are logged in. We can only share our best wishes for Niramai in your very purposeful mission. Thank you so much for being here today.
thank you very much. And if you have any questions, write to me at geeta@niramai.com.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't want to do it on my own, but thank you. Do you mind if I repeat the email ID, Geeta?
Please go ahead. I can even write.
geeta@niramai.com.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
the
so
best.
much.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot.
All the best.
Thank you.
Okay. Wasn't that an amazing conversation? I thought it was, Geeta with her, I've always felt that about her. Such a sharp mind, such a committed person, and so humble in what she does, and truly changing lives around the world through her sheer gut and application. So thank you again, Geeta, if you're on the call. But others, Geeta has been very nice about giving an email ID. If you want to reach out, questions, conversation, bouncing ideas, I'm sure she'll be a great support and mentor to you. Okay, folks, as we continue this journey of exploring entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial mindset, as Geeta very rightly summarized, I don't really have to do much here. Keep the faith, keep going. The road is not straight, but if you persevere, you can keep finding the solutions as you go along. And starting early, especially when you're a student, makes a ton of sense as you take on new challenges. So, folks, with that, we are coming to the close of a session. We're not there yet. We'll probably need another 5 to 10 minutes of your time, but happy to take any questions in the chat /Q&A, Vinayak, right? Both are running, Vinayak?
Yes, sir. Both are running, but even the chat is completely working now. If anyone has questions.
So if there are any quick questions, we are happy to take those. But like I said, this is a continuous series. We are welcoming you to join the next stage of our conversation, same time tomorrow. So if you have questions today, happy to take those on now. Go ahead, Ashish. If not, certainly we'll have an opportunity tomorrow.
So there was a question in the Q&A, and it has been there for a good 2-3 minutes now. The question is, what are the problems faced during early stage of the startup? And the question is by Ruth.
Ruth, right. So Ruth, thank you. Great question. And I wish I could enumerate all the problems. So I'll answer it 2 ways. A, there is no laundry list of problems, depending on what you do. And we heard from Geeta, depending on the space, where you come from, your business, your setting, your competition, your own resources. There are a multitude of challenges along them. That's one way of looking at it. And the second way is, there's actually learnings out there. A lot of people ahead of us have already figured out a lot of these things. Some of it is available, some of it isn't quite codified well. In fact, Ruth, at the very heart of this series is sharing those best practices. So what are those challenges? We'll actually get into those specifics tomorrow. Specific challenges faced by startups, from funding to finding co-founders to finding if there's a market. Not just understanding the problem, but also trying to see if we can prevent some of those. So, Ruth, sorry, it's a broad answer, but there's tons of issues around many dimensions. We'll keep addressing as we go on.
Well,
Can I get the recording?
More.
Can I get the recording, Shesh? Yes, absolutely. In fact, we're going to very quickly show you, give you a quick glance of our platform, which is an online forum for all what we covered in this session, and then some, which is around templates, case studies, stories. Of course, it's also a place for a vibrant community we are trying to build through this program. I do want to react to one quick question before moving on, which is, do you have to have studied in a top B school? Okay, great question. That's Himanshu. Himanshu, you don't need to be in school of any kind. You don't need to be an engineer. You don't need to be a BBA. You don't need to be a BCom or an MBA. As Geeta was talking about, she's a computer science person all her life, and she's solving one of the deepest medical problems on this planet. So to me, what you studied can help, but it doesn't usually or doesn't have to become a showstopper in what you study. And certainly the tier of your college, so-called top B schools, top engineering schools, again, there are some benefits of legacy and some benefits of that ecosystem, but by and large, I've seen entrepreneurs who are as good, if not better, coming from other kinds of institutions. So there is in the field of entrepreneurship, I think your grit, your passion, your perseverance counts more than the tag of a school you bear on your shoulder. That's my view. It helps if you've studied a discipline which is the core of your startup, but it doesn't have to be. Remember, startups are not one-person entities, right? They're built up of other team members who bring other balanced set of skills and capabilities, co-founders, team members. So you don't have to know everything. You can bring others on as well. Okay, we, in the interest of time, okay, Ashish, I will quickly comment. As I mentioned earlier, when we were discussing Mr. Azim Premji to Sairi Chahal, age is no concern. Neither is gender, neither is where you're located, whether you're in India, tier 2 town, or you're in Slovenia, doesn't really matter. Mentorship and support for all ages, all kinds is available throughout the country. I mentioned 800 plus incubators. None of them use age as a qualifying parameter. So please, Ashish, explore, talk to us. We'll help you out as well. Okay. I mentioned there is this powerful platform we've created to act as like a glue for our budding entrepreneurs. And that's the Vadhvani online platform. And we're very excited to, in some sense, formally launch it with this program. And my colleague Aarti is more than happy to give you a quick glance. I'm assuming with your registration, you've got links to these platforms. But anyway, Aarti will walk you through it. Aarti, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Ajay. I hope you're all able to see my screen. I've just shared the online platform with you. This is the WEN Think Startup. So if you've got your links, which you must have got through either Kriti's mail or a mail from WA Vadhvani, you would have access to this particular platform. Now, with the link, you will land up on this page, which is the master page, and gives you an entire look at what this foundation, what this program is all about, along with our speakers, etc. What is more interesting for you will be actually an entry into your own cohort. So the one that you've joined here, all of you who are together will actually form a cohort. All you need to do is jump into the next tab, the one that you see here, click on it, and you've got the cohort coming up for you. Now, as of now, we've got only 2 sessions pasted in here, but as we go along the program, you will see all the other sessions will also come in. Now, the interesting pieces that you need to look at are on top here. So we've got resources, we've got members, and we've got much more. We'll deal with all of this. So what I would like you all to do first is quickly look at expanding this part and fill out your profile. Make it as exciting as possible. Start chats with people, adjust your notification, introduce yourself. This is how you will make the community really vibrant. You can meet a lot of people from your peer group, mentors, etc. Talk to them. And I think that's what creates the entire vibrancy. Now, as far as the resources for these sections or this particular sessions are concerned, they're all going to be sitting under the resources tab. If you click here, the first thing that you will see is an overview and agenda. And this overview and agenda is of the entire program. So it will give you your calendar, the dates that it's on, timing, all of it. And you will also get access to the resources that we have. We've put them into 4 buckets. The in-session resources, that's what somebody asked. Will we have the recording? The answer is yes. You will see the recording up in maybe the next 24 hours or so, and you will get a mail from us saying that the recording is up. You will also be able to see a quick recap. You have a feedback poll that we would, encourage you to take. In fact, let me show you how that looks. So this is how your resource tab is actually going to look. You've got a feedback poll over here, which I would really encourage all of you to fill up. As you can see, there's an Airtable and there's a sign-in button. You just need to sign in into the Airtable once. And even if you have various Airtables coming up later, you don't have to keep signing on. This is required only once. Yeah. This is an interesting section. You've got explore more. You've got a lot of stuff which will be coming in here in terms of videos. They could be articles. These could be frameworks. As we get deeper into the sessions, the resources that you will find here will become really, really helpful for you, especially if you're looking at launching your startup. Another very interesting part is the take action piece. This helps you quickly capture your learning. And remember that all of this that you're putting in here is only unique to your ID. So this is visible only to you and not to anybody else. So this becomes your own private page to record your learnings. The My Journal is again a very exciting area. You can start entering all your reflections, feedback, connects that you've made in the group, people that you would like to reach out to later, mentors, all of that will be featured into the My Journal entry. And at the end of the 9 sessions, you will actually get a nice PDF format of the entire My Journal section. This will include your reflections. We will also have some interesting quizzes coming up for you, which tell you what your personality types are, especially entrepreneurial style. All of this will sit here, and I'm sure that it's going to help you with not only entrepreneurship, but also your career development. So this is a very quick view. We've got lots. I'm not going to take up more time and explain this platform to you. I'm hoping that all of you will take the time to explore it. We've got lots coming up. Do seek out and look at the members over here and start making connections. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this platform. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop here.
Perfect, Aarti. Thank you so much. And folks, I don't need to repeat what Aarti is saying, but really, it's a powerhouse of information and resources. So next steps, explore the platform, start talking to some of your peers, see what's out there. There's a couple of videos already up there, and start on your journal, which is your personal document, by the way. It doesn't get shared. And we will keep giving you some triggers on what to write. But of course, you can write anything you want. But really, I hope you enjoyed today's session. This is just a teaser, folks. We're just getting warmed up. There's so much coming down the pike for us over the next 8 sessions. So I hope you will join us for these sessions. Or not only would we cover new interesting topics, getting into more granularity and details, hopefully answering some of the questions that were getting flagged today. We also have more interesting founders coming in. Tomorrow's session, same time, like I said, 7 p.m. And we're going to talk about entrepreneurial leaders. And like I said earlier, what does it mean for me? I am whoever I am. Is this journey for me? Is this skill set for me? Is this mindset for me? And we will also have a fintech founder to talk to you tomorrow. So thank you again. Amazing questions, responses. You were very good. Unfortunately, we didn't have the time to respond to all the comments, which is why I'm saying, please do join us tomorrow. Hopefully some of the queries will get addressed anyway. And I'm requesting Vinayak to put up a poll. It's a single question. Would love your feedback. Thank you.
Yes, I am putting up a poll. And while I put up the poll, I wanted to mention one more thing, which is great about our platform. And I really need to stress on this part. It's that there's a whole entire section in our portal where you can actually engage with other students in your cohort and in other cohorts also. So you can actually interact with them. You can network with them. You can exchange ideas about startups with them. You can maybe form a startup with someone. So I see a lot of you asked at least more than 200 questions in the chat. And it was wonderful to see that. But often we don't have enough time to answer all 200 of those. We'll answer only a few of them, but you can actually ask those questions to each other and to us in the community part, in the community page. And together you can learn more. So that is one thing I want to mention. And I'm sure Sir would also stress that how important networking is to that. So yes. Sir.
Great. Thank you, Vinayak, and thank you, folks. A large percentage of you are responding to the polls. So we'll see you tomorrow. Come back. We'll learn more, talk more, network more. We'll hopefully forge new relationships as we continue forward in this journey called Think and Do Startup. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone else who joined the session. There were well over 100 students listening to the session for the entirety of it, which rarely happens in online classes. And it was incredible to see that here. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you very much. And for everyone who filled in the feedback form, who asked questions, who were interacting in the chat, who filled in the Mentimeter, thank you very much for interacting with us. So thank you. Have a fine day ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll just quickly turn off the poll in another 10 seconds. So anyone who needs to, put in their results, put in their entries in the poll, just quickly do it. All right. So I'm going to end the poll now. Thank you very much. So it was a great session, and thank you everyone for being here. Thank you.